We made this.
Hello and welcome back to CHUCKYVISION, the podcast that deals with all things Chucky, all of the movies. I know Mark sometimes says all 7 movies.
7.
But I always say 8 because including the remake, we've covered all 8 episodes of season 1. We've done all sorts of guff over the last year.
Guff. Really good quality content.
Good quality guff. We have covered all sorts since season 1 ended. But now, Chucky is back. Season 2 of Chucky. This is episode 1, titled Halloween 2.
I'm very excited. You didn't say who we are, though.
We did, not yet. I am Dev. Always with me is my co-host, Mark.
Hello. Were you in person? Give me a high five to prove it. we going to Scare Kingdom or something. It's a horror experience at a dilapidated theme park. We're doing that together, so we thought we'd record live as well. So this is the first time we've actually recorded together. So if the sound quality's crap, it's because I didn't do a very good job with the microphone.
Yeah, we've got this Scare City thing in Manchester.
Scare City,
and
that's it.
Scary. I don't know how scary it's going to be yet. The episode 1 is titled Halloween. You know, we're in October.
It's spooky season.
And there is all sorts of Halloween stuff going on. There's so many scary movies coming out. The Halloween ends, the 4th end of the Halloween
Yeah, I was going to say, do we really know?
Much like Chucky, it's a franchise that just can't be killed. It's a very good homage to the Halloween franchise in this episode.
And Scream as well.
Oh, some very good Scream stuff.
Any fears that it was going to be shit, Series 2? I don't know about you, but I thought this episode was great.
Who was afraid of Season 2 being bad? I know we did our predictions. I didn't listen back.
You got some stuff right, actually.
I didn't listen back to our predictions, but I know we've got some things sort of right, some things sort of wrong. I think I got some of mine right.
I'm pretty sure you did. I can't remember what I said.
My predictions, as always, were too mechanical in the weeds. Like, this is what they would do in episode 1 of a TV show, just to set things up. It was still very good in the execution.
The start of it, the kind of quick resolution to the last season, it's American, the last season cliffhanger, it was a little bit Star Trek in as much as 3 to 4 minutes, everything's done, back onto another plot. It did feel a little bit like that, but I was all for it. I loved the entire first 5 minutes of this.
Well, it wasn't a cliffhanger at all. They went straight off the edge.
Well, good, you are right.
That was one of my predictions, that they were going to deal with it quite quickly.
You're right. And do you know what? That is the first time, because we record on Zencaster. You don't see each other on Zencaster, it's just audio files. I have never seen your shit-eating grin before, and that was adorable. I love it. You looked at me, said your shitty line, and then gave me a massive grin, and I'm all about it.
Yeah, I'm always waiting. Yeah, we got straight into it with the finale of last season, which was Andy in the truck with... Chucky gave a number. It was like 75 Chuckies.
It was many Chuckies and one Tiffany.
That was something I didn't expect. They dealt with the Tiffany doll real quick.
The thing about the death of Tiffany... This doll Tiffany, I don't think it's the original doll Tiffany either. I know she's supposed to be the baddie, but I was sad. That they killed her off so quickly, because Tiffany is such a likeable character despite the fact she's a complete and utter murderous psychopath.
It is a shame to see it go, because you don't see... It's not the same as Chucky, which is in everything, every episode, every
there's 75
film.
of them, yeah.
But every episode, every film, Chucky's always going to be there. We haven't seen the Tiffany doll properly since Seed of Chucky, and then she was briefly at the end of Cult of Chucky. I'm guessing that's the same one from Cult. Not sure what she was doing the whole of season 1. She eventually showed up.
And that's the thing, we don't know anything. She turned up, she was cool, she was like, yay, the Bride of Chucky. Oh, she did. And it was a very graphic death as well. It's definitely still a horror franchise. They haven't watered it down because their heroes are teens. The decapitation was gory as fuck. I don't know why I was surprised by that, but I was pleasantly surprised that it was really fucking gory.
The durability of these dolls is so all over the place, but they don't care and I don't care.
No.
Because literally in this episode we see how durable one of these dolls are. And yet I've never seen someone decapitated with a handgun.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
It was much cooler than just, a headshot.
I mean, it was close range. And she's only a doll.
True.
I don't think you could decapitate a person with a handgun. And I've got no way of finding out. And I'm glad that I've got no way of finding out, because that would be bad. I want to talk about Bald Chucky, Dev.
Yes, this was teased in a lot of the trailers and stuff.
We didn't see much more, actually, than we see in the trailers.
You had high hopes for this character. Is he going to come back?
I did. The only reason I had high hope for this character is because that's definitely my next cosplay. I'm delighted that there's a bald man that I can cosplay as, because at the moment, it was Professor X or Richard O'Brien from the Crystal Maze, and now I've got something else I can do.
Yeah, we definitely do get some Chucky later on in this episode. Was it clarified he was one of the Chuckies?
I think it was.
It seemed like such a... I can't tell, if it was just Don having fun with the writing, or this is a character we'll see again, the bald Chucky.
Yeah, I think you're right. It could just be that was his one scene. It was put in for the comedy. In previous films where there were multiple Chuckies, they had different haircuts and to differentiate which one was which. So it does make sense that if there's, like, say, 5, 6 of the dolls from the truck that's survived, surely Bald Chucky is a good idea. He's easily differentiated. Yeah. I mean, he's my favourite Chucky of the season so far, but I'm a little bit biased.
And I do feel that there was a line that was set up where he talked about their stick arms. There is a very weird... I never looked up what the context of it, what it was from. It was like a behind-the-scenes photo. It may have been like a shot from some promotional behind-the-scenes thing. But it was a shot of Chucky with his, like, dungarees broken off and his, like, little rainbow shirt ripped open.
Right.
And for some reason, the Chucky doll had abs.
Okay.
Like, the Chucky doll, and I think I retweeted it. It was on our Twitter, at CHUCKYVISION. Chucky was ripped. Maybe a slight setup to the fact that some Chuckies can get shredded.
Did Chucky get Buffy? I'm sorry.
I guess they can. I mean, there's...
Steph can see my shame. He can see me hanging my head in shame.
I mean, they have, like, meat and bone in them. I guess they can work out. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They seem already strong enough.
Buff Chuck, Bull Chuck. I've got hope for all these different Chuckies.
We've seen Chucky... quote-unquote naked in, like, the construction line as he's being made.
Yeah.
But have we ever seen Chucky, like, disrobed?
Behind a curtain when he was having sex with Tiffany?
Yeah.
Wasn't he behind a curtain when he was wanking off as well?
Yeah. Is it like, once he becomes the possessed, the fleshy Chucky, does he become... Are they all ripped?
Well, it makes sense that if he's actually fleshy, that you could get fat, you could get muscly, you could... Maybe Buff Chuck is happening? Buff Chuck later on in the season?
Buff. Chuck has always been
buff. All the Chuck's buff. This is not the conversation I thought we'd have.
On the topic of Chuckies, they're doing a very interesting thing with the fact that it took them a moment to recognise Andy.
Now that is interesting, and it confirms that they don't all retain the previous memories.
Yeah, we talked in the past about it being a hive mind or not.
Yeah, we got quite into it, and it was vague, but I think that confirms that they don't all share the experience and that they're not a hive mind.
But even more so than the hive mind, when they did the spell for the 75 Chuckies, that was in season 1. That Chucky, the prime Chucky, he knew who adult Andy was.
True.
So I think what Don is going with, and this is actually pretty interesting, this was back in Cult of Chucky when they first introduced the second and third Chucky. Those Chuckies, Brad Dourif did, he raised his voice because he thought they would be newer Chuckies.
Oh, okay.
And I think Don has gone, he really liked that idea. And so I think these Chuckies are like kids in a way. Like they're newborn Chuckies. And I think it takes them like a moment to like grow up. So it took them like a moment, because they did know Andy. They remembered Andy.
They did.
But I think it like takes them a while to become the main Chucky. Fully Chucky.
A lot of people will probably be driven crazy by this, but I love how weird and silly and maybe not as arsed about anything making sense this is. I think I'm cool with it.
Yeah, people have said, like, you know, when we said, like, fears about season 2, there's been, not naysays, but, like, minor fan criticisms about where Chucky is going and stuff, and I don't mind. I don't mind if this Chucky is maybe considered different than the Chucky of Child's Play 1.
It would be nice if there was a Prime Chucky, but I'm pretty sure the Prime Chucky, the very original Chucky, the one that was reconstructed in Bride, etc., etc., and then it was revealed it was him again, Curse, pretty sure he was the head on a spike. Is that right?
Yes. What I mean is more outside of that, like writing-wise. Don's original Chucky versus the Chucky now, some people say is a different Chucky.
Yeah.
Because his goals and his motivations and just how he acts is different. Yeah, I was agreeing with you. I don't mind where Don's going with Chucky, because he's, in this episode, a really interesting character.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to do a poll, Dev. Do you think, and indeed do all the Chucky Vision listeners think, that Andy is dead?
Yeah, I mean...
You do?
No, sorry, why did I just said yeah, just to go into the into my side, but no, I don't think he is.
No,
not at all, because they reference it later that there is no body. If you kill off a main character, it's going to be a big moment.
Yeah, I think...
You're going to see him die.
I think it'll be gory.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it'll be really gory if and when they do kill off Andy. Which is another reason why I don't think they've killed off Kyle. Because we didn't really see... Mind you saying that, we've had some major deaths with Explodium, haven't we, in the franchise?
Maybe, but I mean, we didn't, well, you say Explodium, we didn't even see an explosion.
No, you're right.
That was a great sequence though, wasn't it?
I loved it.
All the Chuckies turning in the boxes, and
it was really
the knives
tense,
all coming out. It reminded me of like aliens scuttling along in the ceiling and stuff.
Yes. It didn't, but now you've made the comparison, I can see it. Yeah.
That shot where Andy's looking back in the van and they're all coming out of the boxes. We have talked about like the CGI in like Curse of Chucky and stuff, and some of the old ones. It's not CGI. What it is, it's compositing.
It wasn't terrible.
No,
but it was definitely not perfect. But, you know, I've been watching She-Hulk, and as much as I'm loving She-Hulk, the CGI in that isn't perfect, and that's got Marvel's money in it. What do you expect?
No, yeah, I'm complimenting it. I like them going for it because it's all compositing, so they're all doll Chuckies just edited in all together into the same scene. But it's a great action sequence because it's something conventionally, you know, how in the older Chucky movies and stuff, they had to like make false floors, didn't they? On the sets. They had to have all the wires and the puppeteers just off camera and stuff, so I don't mind them using green screen because it shows us he's meant to be just a small guy. Like, he's meant to be limber and be able to run around and do things that people can't. So, because we're meant to pretend that all these wires and stuff sticking him to the ground don't exist.
Yeah.
So it's a great scene to show that he has these abilities, that he can scamper along the top of a truck and stuff and be very dangerous.
Yeah, it was spectacular and it was fast and it was 6 months later, and I think that's pretty much exactly what you predicted, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You'd get the end and then you'd get a time cut.
And it was one of many good, there's a number of good callbacks to season 1 in this. How it was the same gorge where Devon and Jake kissed, wasn't it? With the big illuminated cross.
I did feel like that was very much a statement of a theme for the entire season, though.
Oh yeah, it lingers
massive cross. Not subtle, Don Mancini, not subtle.
No, there's the shot of him driving past it, and then there's literally just a, 10-second shot of the cross.
Yeah, it's definitely this is our theme this season. Please enjoy our theme. Say hello to it. It is there.
Yeah, then you said the 6 months later, that ominous title card, boom, 6 months later.
After our pumpkin Chuckies. Pumpkin becoming Chucky.
As always, we've got to talk about the title credits, which again, really good.
They were creepy because it was Chucky's face in them. It wasn't jack-o'-lanterns. Then obviously later on in the episode, you saw why it had done that.
Yeah, we got the 6 months later, and then we go straight into Halloween, or Halloween 2.
Such a naughty title.
I mean, talking to Halloween 2, this was Halloween 2018. This was a really good take on that, of the long tracking shot of Chucky walking amongst the trick-or-treaters. And, I mean, they got very close to the actual Halloween music.
They did. They did. Have you seen Heartstopper?
I haven't, not yet.
So, I really think they referenced it. When they greeted each other, part of the Heartstopper thing was every time the two protagonists in that sat down next to each other, they go, hey, hey. And they did a hey, hey, and I'm like, is this a Heartstopper thing, or is it a coincidence? And I'm just looking for it because Heartstopper was just lovely, and I want all of the Heartstopper. It was so sweet. I hope it is.
Misreading my notes, which are on my phone at the moment. We haven't even got to the 6 months later. Yeah, we've. And how could I skip over this whole bit, the whole daytime bit of them moving away from each other? It is such a good scene.
I cried. I don't care. I'm happy to admit that I cried. He told him that he loves her, and I was like, oh, that was a big progress. And I cried. And then they didn't kiss, and then they kissed, and it
was wonderful, and
it was so lovely.
We had a conversation about just good love stories versus quote unquote representation.
Yeah.
And I like that this was just, we talked about it week after week with season 1, how we knew that Jake was gay. You know, Dawn said that he was a queer protagonist going into season 1, but there was that, the storyline, there's,
well, they weren't they?
Yeah, they weren't there. There's this new character, Devon. Is he gay? Are they going to get together? And I like that in season 2, it's just this is the story.
Yeah.
This is what it's about. It's not about just these individuals surviving. It's like in Child's Play 2, how they just threw away the mother.
Yes.
When that was the whole point of Child's Play 1. It was the two characters together surviving.
Yeah.
And it's the same with this, especially for a TV show. It's not just that they as individuals are surviving, it's that they have this relationship. It's a love story.
And it's huge. That just got me, and it was so lovely, and I was so happy about it. Did you notice that there are only 4 principal cast this season? It's the 3 teenagers and Brad Dourif, and then everyone else was guest stars.
I guess that's the way TV is, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure that Devon Sawa was principal cast last season. I think they had 2 or 3 other that were principal cast. But it's just 4 this time.
But, yeah, it must literally just be a percentage thing, how often you're on the screen, how many episodes. Because it's like a lot of TV shows that go on for seasons and seasons, How if they introduce a character I don't know, Castiel in Supernatural, when he showed up in season 4 or something,
right?
You look back and you go, oh yeah, he's one of the main characters. But when he showed up in season 4, he was just a guest star.
Yeah.
He was a new character.
Spike in Buffy.
Yeah, he's a new character, you just put him in every other episode. And it takes a couple seasons before the writers are okay, he's going to be in every episode. He is the main star.
But I think what's really interesting about that is that it's clear that the focus is still the 3 main protagonists, Lexi, Devon and Jake. And I'm glad about that. I didn't want it to expand out and have Nika and Tiffany and maybe Andy as main characters. I really like the legacy characters as being supporting rather than the main focus. I think they've made the right decision to continue with the teens as the main characters in the series 2, I think.
Season 2. You've got to stay consistent. That is how the first season went. It wasn't until episode 4 or 5 until Nika and Tiffany showed up. I mean, I love seeing them when they're on screen, but this is the consistent story at the moment. It's these teenagers, and there's a lot of good back and forth between the 3.
And they've not splooged either. There was very little Tiffany, and there was no Glenn and Glenda. There's no need to rush. I think it worked really well how long we had to wait for legacy characters in season 1, and then obviously doing that same thing here. Even Devon Sawa's character didn't appear.
Well, I think they want that to be a moment with
exactly.
Episode 2. Because he could have shown up at the end.
Yeah.
But they want that to be its own thing.
I think so. They had a vision of how they wanted the legacy characters to be in season 1. that they've continued in season 2, and I'm all about it.
Yeah, and I mean, we should expect that from what I just said about season 1, how it took a while for those legacy characters to come in. Like, I don't think we should be episode by episode going, when's Glenn and Glenda? Where are they? They'll show up when they show up.
I'm very much looking forward to Glenn and Glenda appearing.
I think it might be a little earlier because I'm sure there was a set photo of like the actress with like a Chucky doll, and I'm certain they were sitting like behind church windows, so they may show up at the school.
The school.
If they're going to do that, then I think the whole Tiffany thing might be maybe episode 2, maybe episode 3, a little bit earlier.
I mean, I'm ready for Tiffany, but I also think that they're doing them.
I don't know what that storyline's going to be. I wonder how long we're going to be at that house setting.
I think it'll be the rest of the season. We didn't see that little ginger girl either, did we? The new character that seemed to be in a lot of the trailers, Nadine.
Yes, we haven't yet. No, that'll be episode 2.
I think so. I think we'll see Devon Sawa's character in the next episode as well.
Yeah, because like I say, if he showed up at the end, people would be like, think that's the cliffhanger.
Yeah,
it'd be like, oh, is he another brother or something? They need to just introduce him like, oh, he's a character. He's his own thing.
That's going to be a big debate if they do use him as a cliffhanger, but I don't think they will now. I think if, like you say, they would have used him at the end of episode 1 if they were going to do that.
Yeah, I think it just is a case. He and Don did say that he was influenced by American Horror Story. I think he described Devon Sawa as his Jessica Lange.
Okay.
That he's just going to be a guy that keeps coming back.
If someone called me their Jessica Lange, I would be very happy because she's incredible.
Yeah, that's a real.
So Devon Sawa must be like, cheers, Don.
We're jumping ahead to other episodes.
We are.
Let's keep going with this one. Yeah, I did jump ahead to Halloween night. We got the really good long sequence of this. We think it's Chucky walking through the streets. And then he gets to a door, which is Jake's door. And then it just turns out to be a creepy kid dressed as a creepy clown.
Yeah, that was clever. Nice little switch.
Not quite Pennywise. I wonder if they could get the rights. But
he was Penny-wish.
Yeah.
But he wasn't Pennywise. I'm glad that you laugh at my jokes in person.
He was definitely an odd kid.
I would have been fucking scared of that kid. Let alone if I'd had a really traumatic experience with multiple murderous dolls. I would have been petrified of that horrible kid.
I wonder if that's going to be a running trend or if it's just something that Dawn thought was interesting to put. But we had 2 mentions of phobias in just one episode, didn't we?
Yeah.
The kid specifically brings up, I think it's chlorophobia.
Yes.
About clowns, and then another one about the fear of dolls later.
Pediophobia.
Yeah, Dawn seems to write interesting kids in this series.
Yeah.
I noticed we're going to get a new character just in a second, Gary. Gary and Caroline are quite similar. And then this kid as well is also, he knows his things about clowns and stuff. Dawn likes writing kids who have interests. Yeah. Which is true. A lot of kids have interests.
The Batman and Robin thing was so sweet, and Gary was so adorable, painfully innocent, and poor Gary.
It's a really good introduction, this new little character, Gary. You know, the foster brother, because in the 6 months ago, they got new foster parents. I think we talked about that, didn't we? We talked about what would happen since a lot of them don't have parents now.
And again, I'm probably skipping ahead here, but the solution of how they got all 3 of them to the essentially correction school that happens to be religious actually really worked. Because we were speculating, so these 2 are orphans, how did Lexi get there? And I think it was done really quite neatly. It establishes earlier on in the episode that Chucky wasn't blamed for the murderous shit in the cinema. I think the solution to get them all there, where similar to Junior being blamed for everything, these 3 being blamed for something Chucky did, is consistent with the franchise, isn't it? And there was always the suspicions of Andy in Child's Play 2. I really liked the solution of how to get them there. I thought it worked really, really well.
Yeah, no one's being blamed yet. Right now, Jake had to move away with his new foster parents, so he has a new foster brother, Gary, little Gary. In every scene, loves Batman and does the whole boy wonder,
I love Batman.
Secret identity. It's an interesting little character, but
dead though.
Not yet, but...
He is, though, he did.
We get some, relationship drama between Jake and Devon over the phone.
Yeah.
And it's
a shit situation, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's nice adult drama for these people because it's all natural updating to where they are at the moment. It really naturally throws in the whole information about the parents and stuff.
I think it's good that it's set later as well, because Jake looks a lot older. Devon does not. It's kind of nice that there's a shift in time as well.
And again, it's tricky because, you get his parents, they're not as approving. They don't seem to be like dicks like Jake's dad was. So he's fine with that. And
I loved Gary's response when he saw the kiss. That was great. We keep hopping back to that fucking kiss because it was just so lovely.
And then we have the drama with Devon. His parents are nice. They're accepting of him being gay, but then they're never around. It's real. It treats these characters not like horror characters. They're real people.
That's the boon of television, is you do get more time to give characters some meat rather than 10 minutes, then they're dead. And I think horror actually benefits from television when it gives you characters that are stronger than just fodder.
That's what's great about Chucky as well, because Chucky is a killer that most people don't believe exists. So it's difficult for people. It's difficult for survivors to move on from it's not the same as like a Ghostface killing where everyone is on the same boat and everyone can just move on from it.
Yeah, and obviously Michael Myers is known as a murderer in Halloween, whereas Freddy isn't. So there's different dynamics in slashers.
Yeah, you never see that in Nightmare on Elm Street. Characters just survive and then they walk away and then that's it. Yeah, speaking of all these character killers, I may have been wrong with the whole Ghostface thing. I really thought that he was dressed as Ghostface. Turns out that cape was just Batman. A little off.
There we go. No way, he wears black, that's okay. But I do love that Scream is referenced, particularly as we've recently had a Scream film. And Chucky's always kind of poked at other franchises. He's never poked at Scream before, I don't think.
He loves talking. He talks a lot near the end of this episode, but not often over the phone.
And we've got the beautiful thing that Chucky doesn't discriminate. And, I think that's fucking great, that he can be the most evil, murderous killer in the world, but even he's annoyed by homophobia because it doesn't make sense.
He is very evil, but he will kill everyone. I think to him it's just trivial.
Yeah. I want to see the exploration of Chucky from he's a boy with Glenn and Glenda to maybe there's some kind of acceptance of his kid that has made him a little bit more, I was going to say enlightened, but he's still a fucking murderer.
Yeah.
A little bit less arsed about people's sexualities. I think I'd like to see that. I really want to see Chucky interact with Glenn and Glenda.
I just realised we're going to get that, aren't we?
We're definitely going to see...
Chucky an adult, it would be funny. Just him acting like a dad, but he's a doll.
Yeah.
But also, we're going to see that with the Nika Chucky, aren't we?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Because that flips back and forth.
It's fascinating that Chucky has grown in a weird way, but is still a horrible murderous bastard. Yeah. And this franchise does that so well. Like I said earlier, how I was sad that the Tiffany doll got killed. She's a murderous cunt as well.
That's my prediction. I think that's going to be season 2, that storyline.
Right.
Because it's not just, we've been saying, Glenn and Glenda are showing up at Tiffany's house. It's going to be fun and stuff. But Chucky is there. Chucky is in Nika.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be, whenever he gets the chance, he is going to try and turn his kids against Tiffany.
Oh, that would be so much fun. I really like that idea. I hope that's true.
We only have Seed of Chucky. It's the one film where he has to act like a dad.
I'm still absolutely delighted that they've had the balls to bring back Glenn and Glenda from the desperately unsuccessful, despite its fondness amongst the fandom. It was a diabolical failure of a film, financially at least. This is a bit of a tangent, but did you see that the actor who plays Tyler is out of prison?
Yeah, I saw he was at some convention.
He turned up at a convention, so I want Tyler for Series 3. I don't want De Silva. I want Tyler. He's available. He's going to cons. He needs money. And if you pay him, he'll stay out of prison. Let's have Tyler. And I did look at what he did. It was armed robbery. He didn't, murder anyone. It's not great, but still. No, it's not. It's not a nice thing to do, but it's not the worst of things. I'm just going to pick something out because it's a cultural reference I know. Booker T had a very, very successful run in the WWE after armed robbery. Particularly in America, that's probably something that's forgiven a little more easily than over here in the UK.
Don keeps in contact with his stars. It might be a case of he hasn't talked to this guy since Child's Play 3. I think maybe he'll want to get to know him again a bit before just casting him straight into the show.
I'd like him to reach out. I think it would be nice. Anyway, that was a massive tangent. The video call thing was really cool, wasn't it?
That was the thing. It was a reference within a reference. He was doing the Scream thing, but also when he was asking, is tomorrow home? Did you get that reference?
No.
That's what the strangers ask Liv Tyler at the start of The Strangers.
Okay.
And they say it again in The Strangers too.
I've not seen The Strangers, so
it's
I wouldn't get it.
Upon references. Chucky caught up with horror films at some point. He was dead at 2000, and when did Seed come out? 4 or 5.
Yeah,
He was dead then, but he must have come back and watched the 2008 film, The Strangers. But it was very cool, that three-way phone call. And that's something that I don't think even Scream has done. Scream very rarely does video calls.
No, it does split-screen stuff with people on the phone, but it doesn't do video calls, you're right.
Yeah, and that was very cool. It's the freeway, and they say the phone's muted, we can't use
it was
the phone.
clever.
And it was very clever on Chucky's part. That's what I mean. I don't mind Chucky becoming a different kind of killer if it's for fun stuff like that.
And the glitchiness, occasionally glitchy. I just thought that was a really nice touch because that's very realistic. We've all been on Zoom during the pandemic. Yeah. I thought that was a really nice touch. Really a real sense of realism about it.
Yeah, it wasn't overblown. There were moments where Jake and it was just frozen for a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you something now, and you don't have to answer it. Have you ever had sex in a Halloween costume?
No.
I can't think of anything I'd like to do less. Because the whole elaborate costume thing, it's just going to get in the way, isn't it?
Oh, yes, with our reintroduction of Lexi.
Yeah. When you're getting naked and you're covered in makeup and delicate costumes, I just don't think I'd find that a turn on.
Have you been watching She-Hulk?
Yes.
Oh, did you watch the last episode then?
No, I haven't seen the latest one. I've seen the first 6.
Do you and the podcast want a very slight spoiler?
No! No spoilers, Devon.
It's not a major... It's a fun spoiler.
I'm sat next to you. I can throw things at you if you spoil things.
Well, let's just say it was related to what you were talking about.
Okay, she has sex as She-Hulk. Okay, that's fine.
Maybe someone else has sex in costume.
Okay, good. Wow. They're trying to portray her as a nympho, and they're trying to portray her as a drug user.
Well, I don't know what they're trying. I guess it's just casual sex with her. I mean, I don't know. That's a weird. I guess they're all 14, 15. I don't know how kids are, but until they showed the coke, I don't know. She seems fine.
No.
This is I don't know. Kids are like that, I guess. No, I think that was.
Bump means cocaine, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not very good on drugs culture.
It was a funny joke when the guy was so sincere about I think it should be very special when it's your first time. Yeah, I'll do some cocaine.
Yeah, I think childhood is hard, isn't it? And there are lots of kind of influences on you that... Yeah, I liked that guy. He was really well done in a kind of shallow but worked as a teenage kid who really hasn't worked out who he is and what he wants and what's cool and what's not and how kind of peer pressure works for him. And I also liked his exit where he kind of went over the camera and floofed his cape. I thought that was really good. Really campy fucking vampire dumb shit. I popped for that. I enjoyed it immensely. There's some nice touches like that. The direction in this episode as well.
I did wonder if he was going to die or not. If he was just a character set up to die. But no violence.
No.
This was just part of Chucky's kind of elaborate trap.
Very Chucky elaborate.
Yeah. His scheme here was really just to scare them in a way, or get them all back in contact. Jake and Devon had said that Lexi hadn't been getting back to them.
Yeah.
Because obviously she is going through things by herself.
Shagging and drugging.
Yeah. The idea that Chucky is back gets them all in contact again.
It works as a plan. But again, it's a very Chucky plan.
Yeah. I forgot just how much Caroline was on the level with them. The way it kind of it made me feel sad for a moment. The way when the police are there minutes later picked up like, oh, was that Chucky? Like, she seemed really sad about it. Like, I forgot how much she'd been affected by it. We catch up with how affected she was because we get the very...
I was really pleased to see Caroline.
It's a shame that we're moving on into this church thing. I hope she visits because, like, Caroline was really fun this episode. She's a really good character.
I don't think we'll see her for a while.
No.
But I think we will see her again.
I hope so, because,
she's too good to waste.
That actress is really good. It's like, because it's not just a funny character, like therapy scene between this family.
Right, I'm normally crap when it comes to predictions, but the moment Wedding Bell appeared, I was like, red herring. This is definitely a red herring. That is not Tiffany. And it wasn't. Or at least it isn't yet.
They mention all this stuff. They say, what are the chances that our therapist would be in league with a supernatural doll?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's an interesting bit of lore for the real Chucky nerds. We never really knew what Tiffany was called.
Yeah.
And now we know the good guy doll line for her. It was the Wedding Bell.
Wedding Bell.
With E on the end. The woman said they were rare. I don't know how rare they would be because Lexi smashes this on the ground a dozen times and there isn't even a dent.
Right.
Tiffany is indestructible.
Yeah. She fucking whacks her. Then just gives up and doesn't behead it or whatever.
Just the way the therapist said how rare and expensive like these dolls were, I was like, oh, that's how she's going to get in trouble because she smashes this doll.
Yeah.
But that didn't really play a factor. No. It was just, as you say, a red herring.
I want to say how much of an absolute bastard Michelle is. Great to see the character, but using her husband's death for politics is absolutely beyond the pale shitty. She's just a true villain. It's re-establishing that. And the fact that it was her husband who died and not her. It's just a kick in the dick. And it's great. I want to see little bits of Michelle once in a while. Because she's just such a villain.
Dawn really loves writing new and funny, quirky characters. And Michelle was one where... Just how he kept making predictions about Lexi when we thought she was just going to be the trope, bitch character.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way Don's going to kill these people off because he's clearly having too much fun writing them.
Yeah.
It's funnier for him and everyone if these people survive.
Oh yeah, Michelle's vile and I think he's enjoying how vile she is.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've always seen Andy and Nika and now these kids. We've seen the sad, traumatic, mopey side of people surviving Chucky.
Yeah.
But we've never seen the other side of someone who
didn't know it.
Oh, well, I mean, they didn't know what happened, really. They don't know about Chucky. They just know that something happened. We've never seen the funny side of someone like...
True.
It's not in denial. Someone believing...
Rationalising.
The false story of what's happened.
Yeah.
And he did say that is something he's having fun with this season because one of the reasons he's having fun with the whole Catholic, religious angle is because these are characters who... believe in the supernatural.
Yes.
They believe in things beyond life and death. How are these characters going to react when they just see a voodoo doll? Yeah, sadly, Michelle is going with the story that the public believe, which is Junior did all this.
Yeah.
Which, that really is sad, isn't it?
I mean, yes and no. Junior did still do murders, but the fact that he's blamed for all of it is grim. But it's very child's play, isn't it?
And, oh God, even worse though, Michelle is really blaming her daughter for dating him.
Yeah, that was grim as well.
Oh.
Yeah, Michelle's vile and it's great.
And yeah, that's just the sad thing, because Lexi tries to, she's put in a bad spot because she's can't defend him.
No.
She says, he wasn't always like that. She can't defend his memory.
No.
Which is really sad.
No, she can't, because to do so would to suggest that she's insane, because you can't blame the doll.
And we get that at the end of this episode, the same thing, where you either get locked up for being a crazy person for believing that these dolls are real, or you just have to bite the bullet and accept not real guilt for this. Why Chucky is so good in TV form, because you can keep following that.
I really like the way Chucky has developed as a TV show and looks at the stuff that we were talking about only speculatively from the films. I also like that there was like a window scene and a kiss as well.
I mean, speaking of all this guilt, I did fucking love the line from Michelle when she's talking about like the pain and suffering and stuff, and then she says, the guilt, the survivor's guilt.
She's awful.
I don't know, as awful as she is, I don't know how much can you blame a mayor for that?
Yeah, well, she's definitely a love-to-hate character. Definitely a love-to-hate character.
It's not like she's the mayor from Jaws. There's nothing she could have closed down.
True.
I mean, I guess she went on ahead with the whole theatre show. I think in season 1 there was some talk like, are you still going to do it after like 5 people have been murdered?
I know. Don't know, are we going to see much Michelle now? I'd like to, but maybe we won't. Maybe we'll still see some hack and sack stuff.
Unlike the Child's Play movies, once Andy fights and defeats Chucky, the way a movie works is we'll get back to him a couple of years later. And if they want to, then they can do Child's Play 3, and it can be a new actor aged up. And
let's not.
What I mean is, like, you can, a character is just whatever you write. You can come back to him later. But this is a TV show. If the actors are teenagers, then the characters are still going to be teenagers. So, is this the last of Michelle? Just because they've gone to this school? What's going to happen afterwards? Where are they going to go? And
I love this whole speculation of, you don't think they'll be there for the whole series, and I think they probably will be. Definitely going to be really interesting as it goes along, seeing who's going to continue to be a part of the show and who's not going to be in it for the rest of the series.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I like how real Don is going with it, because you can always do the other thing. I know Buffy did it pretty well with characters, leaving school. That's the thing. Buffy, the first couple of seasons it was a high school setting, and then they eventually moved out and they got jobs and stuff. Like, the alternative is like Supernatural. You know how they don't have jobs or anything? They hunt, and that's it. And they just go from motel to motel. It's very much like the X-Files. They have an office, but like it's not really about like the office work, is it? No. It's just them out on the road doing stuff. They're not really at that age yet, are they? These characters.
No.
To just live out on the road like that yet.
No.
So I like that it keeps them grounded in these settings. Like, they can't just run away.
Whereas Andy is.
Yeah.
And we might see him...
We'll see him in that weird, fucked up Evil Dead shack. And they say that, don't they? That's a kind of a setup for that, where if he did survive the truck crash, why wouldn't he tell us? Maybe the Chuckies have trapped him or something.
Maybe. Yeah, that might be it. They might be torturing him.
I wonder if that the reason Tiffany got decapitated is maybe that he's doing something similar to the Chucky head.
Okay.
We're going to get a little Tiffany head, maybe? Who knows? We can get all sorts of things. I wonder, here's my crazy prediction, which I really don't know would happen.
Go on.
But we talked about how we've never seen a good person in a doll.
Andy?
Either he did it, or the Chuckies did it to be vindictive. He fell off a cliff in a truck. Maybe he was dying or dead, and then the Chuckies brought him back.
And he's in a doll.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be so gross. I love it.
He doesn't want to go back to the kids because now he's a doll.
And they might kill him because they think he's Chucky. That's very cool. That is a nice... I'm not sure it's a prediction, but it's definitely a want.
Wild speculation.
I hope you're right. I like that.
We were just saying about, the misery of these characters with all the violence and murder and stuff that's going to happen at the school. This is already a school for violent people.
Yes.
If they're going to take the blame for this, for season 2, where do they go from here? We get some really good Lexi and Caroline stuff here, don't we?
Yeah.
I really like the whole tying Tiffany to the chair and the whole dolls are fucked up speech. That was really good. And making it, I was writing that down, just how Caroline's like, you said the F word. And I just thought that's a funny little joke. But then it became a thing where Lexi's like, no, you've got to say it. All dolls are fucked up. And that's kind of the thing, isn't it? About how these characters have to be always vigilant now. Always be aware that Chucky can come back. It's so hard on them, and it's not something Caroline can grasp yet. We'll see.
Young,
We'll see. She becomes friends with the doll again. She's just like, it's just a doll.
Lexi's house is fucking massive.
But she says it's terrible.
I know I'm always whining about the size of Americans' houses. I just notice it whenever, the hallway is bigger than most people's bedrooms. Well, most British people's bedrooms. I think it's supposed to be a big house, despite the fact that they bemoan it. It is a very cool shot when she's in the hallway and it kind of pans out.
Yeah, that's a nice little reference back to how she's not changed completely.
Yeah.
She just thinks that's a terrible house, even though it's massive. Oh yeah, before they go to Lexi, Jake shows up at Devon's house.
And they have a kiss.
Yeah, we get another kiss, which is great because it's not like in season 1 how the big kiss at the gorge. It wasn't like a big moment. You know, they're a couple now. They kiss. That's it. It's natural.
It was very kind of proper teen drama, coming in through the window, sneaking a kiss. It was really good. And it was only very, very brief. But yeah, I think you're right, it's cool. Was it this scene where they were talking about Bride of Chucky?
Yeah! What? So, they made a Bride of Chucky movie starring Jennifer Tilly. So, wait, when was this?
Is this Chucky Goes Psycho, or is it the follow-up to Chucky Goes Psycho, do you think? Yeah, Tiffany doll was in Chucky Goes Psycho. That's definitely true.
The Tiffany doll was in
Chucky Goes Psycho, which is the film they were making in Seed of Chucky.
So I think this is Tiffany as Jennifer Tilly getting the opportunity to play Tiffany.
Fucking hell. So meta. So you think it's the sequel to Chucky Goes Psycho?
Possibly.
Although, so it happened between Seed and...
We've got something like the Stab movies, how in Scream 5 there's been 8 Stab movies.
Yes.
It's called Chucky Goes Psycho. Everyone seems to know what Chucky is. I think Chucky Goes Psycho is a sequel.
Yes.
I think there's already been like 4 or 5 Chucky movies, and I think Bride is like...
This is so silly and so meta. You're right, it's another Scream reference. But Britney's still dead, yeah?
Yeah, in this
Britney's definitely still dead. I really want them to address Britney's death. I really want them to, like, I don't know, maybe, like, have another teen star singing Britney's songs or something like that. That would be fun. But that really stuck out to me, is that they are fucking with us. There's going to be so many people going on what am I talking about? Chat boards, I don't know. You do that shit. I don't do any of that shit. What are they called?
Oh, just on Twitter?
No, you've got those groups that you talk in.
Oh, Discords.
And yeah, I don't know. You're lucky I go on Twitter. But you do all that shit. I'm very grateful that I don't have to. And apparently there's some lovely people that you've met, and I've not met any of them. But I can imagine these board things going fucking crazy for this particular moment where there's a film called Bride of Chucky established as canon as... I've confused myself.
It's the same thing with Scream, isn't it? It's obviously what they're going for, but it's the same way though they just jumped ahead to 8. We don't know what half of those films are. So we don't know... We haven't heard about that film franchise since Seed of Chucky.
Since Chucky Goes Psycho.
Yeah, we really don't know anything about that fake franchise. But
brilliant.
If they're going to bring it up again, then we'll probably hear more about it, yeah. I like all of this character stuff here between the trio. I like it, it really feels like they did keep in contact to a degree. They know where each other lives, and they know about her drug habit already. Yeah. That's another TV trope that I hate. How do we fill up an episode? Let's just keep, let's have all the characters keep secrets from each other.
Right.
And then just the next episode, it's like, why didn't you tell me about this? I always mention Supernatural. Supernatural.
I've hardly watched any of it, so I'm afraid it goes over my head.
I always mention Supernatural when it comes to TV writing because that is this. Every season has to be one of those like 24 episodes things.
Yeah.
So it's always like, how dare you keep this secret from me? We're not hunting together anymore, and they'll drive away separately away from each other.
Right.
And then like the next episode, they'll just come back to each other. Oh, and it does that like 4 or 5 times a season.
That's bollocks.
But I
know Paris Hilton was in it at one point.
Oh yeah, as herself, kind of. She was like a wax doll that came to life.
Good.
There's some fun episodes. They have fun. They do the Scream thing, how there's a character who he has visions of what they do, so he started writing them as books. So there's a whole line of like sort of like Stephen King, like sort of like a whole line of supernatural books.
Right. Okay.
And it turns out he was like, well, this is late game trailers, but who cares? The thing then was he was like
like some kind of seer.
And then at the end of the show, they were just like, yeah, he's God.
Right, okay, good. Wow.
So God not only wrote all of Supernatural, but then he went into his own story.
I'll be fascinated to see whether or not God is real in the Chucky world. Obviously, I'm an atheist, I'm humanist, I don't believe in God. I'm fascinated about how they're going to approach the religious people from this point forward. But I think we'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, we've talked about the religion and the angles and stuff and where they go.
I mean, it is explicitly a Catholic school.
Yeah.
It says as they enter that it's a Catholic school. So surprised that they were that blatant which exact type of Christianity that they're going to be maybe digging at. I was.
By the way, if you want the ultimate meta episode of Supernatural, there's an episode where they have to investigate like a ghost or a monster or some other crap. They have to investigate something at a high school. The theatre group is doing a theatre production of the Supernatural books.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And it's all like teenage girls dressed as like the male characters.
Brilliant.
And they're like singing musical song. It's a musical as well.
Oh dear.
They did that in Marvel. They didn't they, with Hawkeye?
Yeah.
They had an Avengers musical. So maybe one day we'll get Chucky the musical. Where are we now? Yeah, they're all just hanging out. All of that line where short people can be assholes.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just good character writing, like it is a funny show at times.
Yeah, it is surprisingly funny.
Lixie was just about to redeem herself, but then she put Jake and Devon back in the closet.
Yeah, that was so fucking dumb. It was. This program is very, very queer, and the closet reference was so fucking blatant. Yeah, the metaphor is strong. I don't think we really need to discuss it.
And they had to stay there all night as well.
I'd have probably cuddled up or something.
Reminded me of did you ever see that film, The Kid Detective?
No.
It was from a couple of years ago. Good film. This kid, it was really smart, so he became like a little junior detective. Back when he was a kid, he would like go investigate people's houses and stuff, and he'd stay in the closet, and then he'd like sneeze or something, and like the people would open the closet and they'd be like, "Oh, you." And they'd give him a slap on the wrist. But then later in the film, when he's an adult, he goes to investigate someone's house, and then the family comes back. So he hides in the closet, and the room he's in is like a little 7-year-old girl. And then,
that's not good.
The girl is just like doing her homework and like doing stuff. So he's in there for like hours.
That's
and then
not
just
good.
as she's about to go to sleep, he sneezes.
Yeah.
And it just cuts to him at a police station.
That's wow. Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Where are we now? Yeah, we're in Lexi's
Chucky's
house.
arrived, hasn't he?
Chucky
arrives with a bomb.
Yeah, Chucky's arrived with Gary and a homemade bomb.
When I saw Gary, I was like, oh no, Gary, no. And I think it's testament to how little screen time that character got.
Yeah.
How very sweet and invested how very sweet he is, and how very invested I got in that character. Even though I didn't know the character before this episode. It was Gary's time.
I should have expected that because I think it is in one of the trailers, him sitting next to Chucky with the bomb. But I blanked it because it was such a very brief shot.
Wasn't the explosion, the chemical explosion in one of the trailers as well?
Just the explosion, though, I think. I think it was Chucky holding the bomb and then the house explosion. But I think, it was all so broken up that we didn't predict it.
No.
And I wasn't expecting Gary to show up.
It was definitely like, oh no, Gary!
Yeah, we got the holy homemade bomb, Batgirl. And that was so interesting because I thought it was interesting that Don wrote these two kid characters who are quite similar in a way. I want to say kind of on the spectrum. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but in different ways, I think. But
Gary reminded me of early Caroline from season 1.
Yeah, maybe.
But what was interesting was how at this moment Caroline had already grown up so much.
Yes, but she had to.
Gary didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
But Caroline had matured in a way that she knew what was happening.
Almost a kind of jaded character now.
I wouldn't say she was so jaded. I mean, she's more traumatised than jaded.
Yes, that's probably better. Traumatised, yes.
She was still a kid. It had forced her to mature a bit.
Yeah.
Just because I thought it was a very mature moment when Lexi comes downstairs and sees her sitting eating cereal with wedding bell. And I felt like, what's going on here? But then she's just like, it's just a doll. I sat with her all night and she's just a doll.
Yeah. And the fact that she tested,
she had the knife.
It shows the trauma. And
again, I had predicted that something bad was going to happen that gets them sent to this school. And I was like, you don't give a little girl a knife. That's going to end up like an accident or something.
It was a really intelligent way of getting them all to the school. It really worked, like I said earlier. And killing off little Gary.
Yeah, I mean, this whole sequence, there's so much in it. Chucky is such a talker. He has so many good lines in this. He talks about how Uber has made being a killer doll so easy.
And it's a really nice, simple way of modernising a character from the 80s.
With great references to the past films where he's always had to grab someone's shoulders and like, hold them at gunpoint or something to get into a car.
There is then a Scooby-Doo reference, which puts it firmly back in the 80s.
Another Scooby-Doo reference out of nowhere, which really it works for Chucky because he is someone that fucks with people. Those people tend to get away, and he's always chasing after them. And again, people.
It's a reference that's relevant to Chucky, who is in his 70s. Yeah. He's much more likely to have watched Scooby-Doo than, I don't know, what's my nephew watching at the moment? PJ Masks. So he's not going to make a PJ Masks reference. He's going to make a Scooby-Doo reference because he's 70.
Scooby-Doo's pretty rare. Scooby-Doo has always been kind of relevant.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm getting at.
You know what they did in the most recent Scooby-Doo cartoon? They made Velma canonically gay.
Ah.
There's like a new character who's kind of similar to her, and she's just like all into her.
And they're les up.
Well, I don't know. It's still a kids' show, so it's more just heart eyes at each other.
Hold hands.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that. That's actually really nice because she was always kind of a character that lesbians maybe not.
Yeah.
What's the word
she
I'm
was
looking
iconic,
for?
Yeah.
She did like where queer people didn't have an explicit queer character, they kind of attached themselves to the subtly or the queerist.
Yeah, and it always felt like even though she wasn't written queer, it always felt weird how some later cartoons would overcorrect it. Like, I know James Gunn, when he wrote those movies, he wanted her to be queer, but like she ends up with like Seth Green in the second one, which felt really weird. And I think in one of the...
Seth Green was with a lesbian in Buffy as well, I remember. So maybe that's why we cast Seth Green. Maybe. I fancy the fuck out of Seth Green. He's so sexy. Like, people didn't need to know about my Seth Green obsession. Let's move on.
Chucky talking a lot. There's a lot of Chucky talking here. He goes over the fact that Andy and Kyle are dead. So, obviously, they're probably not if Chucky is insisting they're dead.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see. I genuinely don't think any of those characters are dead.
No.
It would actually be more of a twist if Kyle was dead and, I don't know, the glove was De Silva or something like that, although I'd hate it. Should be Tyler. Anyway.
Yeah, I do think Don wants to kill these people off screen. We've talked about that. But,
true.
Yeah, and then he talks about how many Chuckies are dead. He doesn't say how many, but he says there's enough left that he is willing to kill himself here.
And yeah, Devon says this one was a kamikaze, so there's going to be enough out there.
I do wonder about that, the magic of it, because he was clearly cloning himself in Cult of Chucky.
Yeah.
And there was kind of a debate among fans in Season 1 whether or not he needed to do something special to get his army. There was a belief that he needed to turn one of the kids into a murderer in order to get all of his dolls.
Which was Junior.
I don't think that was true, though. It was never explicit. Because I feel in season... Because
I think it was implicit, though.
I don't think that is the case. I feel like he was already doing that. He was just getting them all ready.
Right.
Throughout Season 1, he was slowly building up that army. I think that, and then also the fact that we get that flashback of him, and we'll mention it later, in the Home for Wayward Boys, he was already trying to get other people to kill on his behalf.
True.
So that was a pattern of behaviour before the voodoo.
True, you're right. You are right.
Yeah, so that's what kind of made me a little confused in this, where they were like so... Don has been very aware of his own writing and, mentioning what people might be thinking, so maybe we'll get it, but I did wonder that line of, like, how many Chuckies are left. Because even if they kill all of the Chuckies, he just comes back one way or another.
Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong.
And even if they just kill it, even if they get it down to just one Chucky, he can still just do the cloning thing again.
Yeah. And I think that's the undertone power that Chucky has, that he is this doll that you can pick up and smash or strangle like Jake did at the end of Series 1. But he's essentially immortal.
Yeah, I mean, the real wonder will be when... And I don't know, have they established this yet? They say that the wedding bell was rare. Is Chucky rare yet?
Well, I mean, we lost 60 of them recently.
Yeah, but is it a case of, was he that popular in the 80s and 90s that there are millions of him across the world?
Yeah.
Or is it a toy line where if you go on Google, each one is like, $2,000?
Yeah.
Like, they're all collector's items.
Could he transfer into other dolls as well? I think?
Well, he could, but then it wouldn't be Chucky anymore, really, would it?
True, it's part of his identity.
But that could be an idea for like season 3 or something.
Yeah, something that they play with, yeah.
Yeah, because I think at the moment now it's like the way they're buying these Chucky dolls online is through Tiffany.
Yeah, but that was more her obsession, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because she...
Well, it was their goal of the together goal of the killing. But what I mean is they had the money because she was Jennifer Tilly. So there's another angle
poker
there.
Poker playing Jennifer Tilly, yep. Tiffany is the successful poker player. Brilliant. But, this programme is so beautifully batshit. And it's so for me. And I just love that other people love it too. Because it is batshit. Absolutely batshit.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, you got to roll with it. And yeah, it really shows in all the little touches as well. Just the fact that this whole sequence are all waiting for Lexi to come down so that he can kill everyone. And I love that. Did you notice that tiny little detail when Chucky's sitting and that it's like a far shot of them all watching the stairs? You can see Chucky's foot like shaking, like impatiently.
No, but I love it.
Like he's fidgeting, waiting.
He's an impatient man. This is very much an established part of who he is. Love it. I didn't spot that, but I love that it was there.
It's such a nice little detail. And that is something I saw in the credits. Did you see that? I don't know if this was season 1, but this was really cool. The puppeteers were listed as co-starring.
Yes, that's really cool.
And they all got, all the main 6 puppeteers got listed.
That's really
front,
cool.
Which is really cool because they are...
They are Chucky.
Yeah, they are Chucky. They are co-starring.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really nice push for them because you get those little details, like his little foot moving, that make him seem alive.
Yeah, agree. I didn't spot it, but I'm so glad it was there.
But then, speaking of alive, Chucky won't be alive for long. Because,
Boom.
Yeah, he gets tased in the face, which almost ruins his plans. But then poor Gary, who thinks this is all still a joke, he runs off with the bomb. And he runs away from everyone, so it's just him and Chucky.
It was just so sad.
Oh, it really was, because he has killed children before. We know with Nika's niece.
Yes.
We had that line where she died off screen.
Yes.
So he's not a homophobe, but he's not above killing children.
No, he's not. And it was shocking, even though it wasn't gory.
I mean, that is something they haven't really shown in the flashbacks yet. Whether or not Charles Lee Ray was a child killer. Was he that evil back then? Because I think in all those flashbacks, the season 1 flashbacks, I think you only really see him kill women.
Yeah, No, it's not a young person, is it? It's an older person when he's in the Burlington home for wayward boys.
Oh yeah, he kills like janitor, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a janitor. It's not one of his... No,
but when he is Charles Lee Ray... an 80s Charles Lee Ray, like just before Child's Play 1, they make it out more like he's, that traditional serial killer who just kills women in motel rooms and stuff. Yeah. We don't know if he is as evil as a child killer yet, until he becomes Chucky the doll.
Yeah.
I think it is maybe a case of the fact that he went after Andy so many times that it really was a case.
Well, he wants to be a child killer, that's for sure.
Well, he wanted to be a child in a sense originally, because he felt... with the magic, he had to be Andy. Yeah. I think after a while, he just got so pissed at Andy that he wasn't above just a fucking.
He kills a lot of young people in Child's Play 3 that are under 18, but not as young as Gary and Caroline.
Yeah.
So they're not adults in Child's Play 3. They're like 16, 17, aren't they? And he's attempting to kill Tyler, who's maybe 13 or 14.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, he is a child killer, but an older child killer. This is I think this is the youngest on-screen kill, maybe. Correct us if we're wrong. At CHUCKYVISION.
Yeah, this is definitely a dark moment, and they sit with it. I mean, this is the saddest part: the fact that we talked about guilt, that Jake is blamed for this.
Yeah, all 3 of them are blamed.
And they managed to get away with it because, like,
they're under 18.
Yeah. it's definitely not good, the fact that the story is that he built a homemade bomb.
Yeah.
Like even as a joke.
Yeah, and it was an accident, but it's a really nice way of showing how evil, again, Chucky is. Because earlier in the episode, we were really pleased that he doesn't discriminate. He's not homophobic, you know? And then he kills a kid. I mean, fuck. That's pretty evil, even if you don't hate the gays.
Yeah. Because, Don has talked about maybe doing movies as well, alongside the TV show. It makes you wonder where this is going to go, you know, as a TV show, because it's like, we talked about it, how, you know, for a 90-minute movie, you can torture a character for 90 minutes, and at the end of it, say, like, well, he won, you know?
Yeah.
They beat the killer, and they can walk away.
Yeah.
And then in the sequel, you can go, well, even in a sequel, you can have, like, 5-10 minutes of them being sad. But then you introduce a new killer or something, you bring back a killer. It's always a thrill ride. Here, it really shows, like, if this show goes on to season 3, season 4, season 5, like, how miserable can these characters get?
I know, right? As miserable as Andy. So the bus. Jake's rejection. Really, really... I was like, no, hold his hands. He's sad. And I think... What's interesting is it's how different people handle trauma. I know I'm more likely to be like Devon. I'm going to reach for people. I'm going to want them to reassure me by like holding my hand or holding me or whatever. But I know other people who the way they deal with their trauma is to stay away from people, like Jake. And I just thought that was a really nice, subtle way of handling how people deal with bad shit.
Yeah, it definitely seems...
Sometimes it's not compatible.
Yeah, that definitely was, like, a point of that scene. Because you get that moment where he makes that joke about some bully. We'll talk about him. So, that bully, you know, maybe Chucky will take care of him. And Jake is very much like, don't joke about that. It's not funny.
I think Trevor Kane is going to be a problem.
Yeah,
and I think Chucky is probably going to kill him.
That's an interesting little introduction of a character, like, oh, here's this person, Trevor Kane. Like, who are they going to be? Because I don't think they're in any of the trailers.
No, I don't. Could be a red herring, but I don't think that one is.
Yeah, he's an interesting new character.
And it's a nice fucking twist that this school is the Burlington home for wayward boys. I didn't see that coming. And
yeah, really good pullback to season 1. Yeah,
that was a real... kind of gut punch moment. A really, really good twist. Really good twist.
And we do get a faint introduction to Father Bryce, Devon Sawa's character, because he gets introduced as the Archdiocese of Camden.
He does.
I think in our predictions I was trying to name what he might be. Because in the trailer he is wearing, like, not just his collar, but like he's like leading a sermon in like full proper robes and stuff. So yeah, Archdiocese sounds right.
And Sister Ruth, I've only watched this once, I'll be honest. I don't think I've got my head around whether she's a goodie or a baddie or an in-betweenie. Because she doesn't smile, but she says we can have fun.
Yeah, but then she says that in the most stern way possible.
No, I don't. I'm really intrigued by this character because I don't feel like I've read her. I don't feel like I know whether she's good, whether she's bad, whether she's going to be an antagonist or whether she's going to be a victim or whether she's going to be a goodie. I like that. You saw more of her than you thought you might for a cliffhanger had it been Father Bryce. But I don't think I've learned anything other than she's a nun. And she might be nice, but she might not be. And I like that. I'm fascinated by this character.
I don't think she's going to be nice.
You don't?
But I wonder what the distinction between her and Father Bryce is going to be. They're not both just going to be the stern authority figure who loves God but doesn't believe in all this Chucky stuff. They can't just do the same thing, can they? So I wonder what these characters are going to be like as the show develops.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be. I mean, either one of them or both of them could end up being something like... I mean, we've had these developments in these adult characters, like how... I forget which one. Is it Logan Wheeler? The uncle? The brother?
Do you know? I should know that.
But the second one, how he started as the really nice guy, and then became an asshole.
Yes.
Or how Bree had a secret and we thought it was a bad secret. But it turned out she was a nice character. I think we're going to get that with we don't know these characters yet. No. I think there's going to be things where we learn stuff about them, which really changes how we see them.
Yeah, I think you're right. And do you know what? I never decided whether or not I like a whole series dropped in one, like Netflix has done, or whether I like the episodic thing. We wouldn't have a podcast if they weren't doing the episodic stuff. But I want more Chucky, and I went, no, I want to binge watch the whole lot. Gimme. We didn't get screeners, even though I fucking tried. And I want to watch more, and I can't. So, next week, innit?
Next week, and it should all be hitting off next week, because they're at the school.
Mm.
We're going to get to know all the new characters, like Sister Ruth, Bryce, and Nadine. We're going to get maybe see some... I don't know if we're going to see any of the other side.
I don't think we're going to see legacy characters, no.
I think since this first episode was 45 minutes of setup, like, Don can easily fill 45 minutes of just establishing the school.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see legacy characters. I think it's going to follow a similar pattern to last season.
Yeah, and in like some of the later trailers, I think there's definitely some dialogue about Devon and Jake saying like, oh, we can't act gay in here because they don't like gay stuff. So there's definitely enough of that to fill up an episode. But then we'll see maybe how much murder there'll be, because at the very end of this we get the UPX delivery man bringing in a very familiar shaped box.
I know, right?
So it did not take Chucky long at all to show up.
A Chucky.
A Chucky, yes.
A Chucky. Or it could be a Tiffany.
Or a Tiffany.
Could be a Tiffany.
But yeah, there'll definitely be some murder. Because I wondered that this episode, it took me a moment when watching it, and I was like, isn't there usually like a murder every episode?
Yeah.
Like there's always one good murder that we can talk about. And I was like, this is a lot of establishment in like season 2. Are they not going to kill anyone this one?
And then it was Gary.
It wasn't gory or fun or anything like that. It was just a really sad kill. And and I wonder, I guess, is episode 2 going to be the episode where they're like, this is a real slasher.
We need a spectacular gore fest in this episode 2. I think we'll get it as well.
Yeah, because we have that in... I won't try and make all the predictions, but we have in one of the trailers, don't we, that drunk priest... He gets strangled, so is that next episode?
Maybe. I can't wait to find out.
I think that's everything, man. We have gone over this episode in further detail.
And it feels great to be back. It's really fucking hard doing podcasting the way we do because we don't get screeners. But I'll be damned if I didn't absolutely love the season run last time. And I'm so stoked to be back. And, they're not all going to be in person. But this was fun too.
Yeah, this is great, yeah. This is the only reason I'm finding it weird to sign off, just because usually it's just like, alright then, see you guys later, next time. And then we hit stop, and then me and Mark are just like, alright, see you later. And
bye.
Close the laptop.
But no.
I'm still sitting next to him.
We're going to the dilapidated theme park. In fact, we need to go, so sign off, Dev.
Yeah, no plugs, just all the usual plugs. You've, mine and Mark's plugs.
Oh yeah, should we just fuck it and say bye?
Yeah, they're the same plugs they are every episode. We have other podcasts.
We've talked for like 90 minutes.
Well, this is Chucky Vision, and season 2 has started, so tune in next week. We'll have episode 2 of Chucky Vision. But until then, sorry. My throat is so dry. I haven't taken a drink this morning.
Leave that in, that's brilliant.
Wait until next episode for the end of that sentence.
Wanna play? Chucky Vision is a podcast brought to you by the We Made This Network. Follow us on Twitter @ChuckyVision. Follow the network on Twitter @WMT_network. Our website is wemadethisnetwork.com. The logo was designed by Dev, and the theme tune
composed by Dark Fantasy Studios. Wanna play?
If you're a fan of British comedy, particularly broadcast on the BBC, that's been going for a decade or three, try Shipwrecked and Comatose, covering all of Red Dwarf, including those additional specials, heroes and their foes. Anything else, well, who knows? So find us on your podcast apps and be greeted by some friendly chaps and Mark's deep obsession with all cats. It's Shipwrecked and Comatose. We're not on Insta, it's Twitter's hard mode. Red Dwarf Pods are social. Both subscribe and enjoy us a load.